Okay, it is the beginning of August 2019, Florida, Zone 9B. I'm so sorry, it's been a while since I've given an update, but I'm out here. It's been a rainy past couple days and sun's setting, so hopefully you can get a chance to see what's going on. This is a starfruit tree. We've gotten a couple of fruit off of it already. Very, very good. This is the Cherry variety. Also has some more flowers for the next time around. I have a lot to update you on. It's, like I said, it's been a while, so I'll kind of talk about that kind of stuff as I walk through. So my issues with the city and the code compliance are not 100% resolved. There's still some stuff going on there, but I think they're okay with the system I have in place and my overall design plan. They just want to kind of see it executed quicker, and they're trying to get me to sign up to a date to get the whole system in place and everything done. So that's kind of where we're at now. I submitted my estimate to them like 2 months ago, and they still haven't gotten back to me, so I am not sure what the story is with that. I'm still in limbo, but it is what it is at this point. Fig tree is looking really nice and healthy. Got some longevity spinach that I'm starting in a few places. One of the issues they had is they don't want to see large expanses of mulch. They want at least like a 50% coverage, but what I was explaining to them was we plan to have pretty much everything covered with plants except for the pathways, but it's going to take some time to get there. And this is my hobby and something I really love doing, and I don't want to rush through it. I want to enjoy the process and just take my time and think about what I'm doing. So to kind of appease them, you'll see a theme that I have going on is a bunch of plants that'll cover the ground and take up space, like the longevity spinach, and I got some sweet potatoes and Seminole pumpkins and stuff planted that are gonna spread out and cover the ground very well for me. Sunflowers, I have a couple in here. There's a rabbit that seems to like to bite the tops off, so I got to put them in little cages to get them to grow up a little bit and protect them. This is the Barbados Cherry. It's done really, really good. Just starting to get some cherries off of it. Got some more flowers, but overall really happy with this tree. I really don't like staking or tying up trees. I have to do that here because the way these things are propagated are air layer, so they don't really have a nice structural taproot to go down into the ground. So while this guy's getting its root system established, I gotta have it staked up. There's immature fruit. But anyway, I gotta prune it back because it's growing so vigorously. The top gets heavy and it likes to wobble around. Down here, some sweet potato just getting started. This is a new addition. A buddy of mine, old coworker, gave this to me. I think it's called like a Mujang tea. It's supposed to be really good, like a vanilla citrus type flavor tea, so looking forward to getting some of that guy. Peppers have done really good, and I've also transplanted a bunch of things, so if it's looking really scraggly like this chili pepper, I moved it from one side of the yard to the other, and I'll explain that later. This rue plant was on the other side of the yard too. So over here we have We have lots of little green spots in random places. This is the mustard. I think in one of my last videos I grew like a row of mustard, and I harvested all those, got the seeds, and harvesting them, the mustard seeds just scattered everywhere, so they've been popping up all on their own, and letting them grow. They're doing fine, they're not hurting anything, scattered everywhere. Probably won't let them go to seed like that anymore, but just a couple of them to gather more seed. So you can see right here, there's a little cluster of mustard coming up. This katuk plant, I had it in a pot forever, so I'm glad I finally got it in the ground. And it's going to be a companion with this banana. And it also has sweet potato there at the base. Over here we have a couple of watermelon vines going. I believe it's just two watermelon plants. And this is the sugar babies. Got a couple there, got one growing there, and there's another big one in the back over there. So these guys are doing really good. I was kind of impressed with how good it's growing in the heat of summer. You know, usually I think you have to get it started a little bit before summer, and then it can kind of last in the beginning of summer. But we're in July or in August right now, in the dead middle of summer, and these things are doing just fine. Cranberry Hibiscus there in the back. Got a trellis with some goji berry on it. Show you some of these. These have got some fruits on them, and we've already started getting some new shoots to come up out of the ground from this guy. Just some onions that we got from the store, and we planted the little base of them. Just the little green onions, not the bulb onions. Another cranberry hibiscus. These are looking good. Still got some stuff in pots here, a couple of blueberries, mulberry, and some other stuff I got growing for some friends and other things I want to plug in the yard. So get these planted here soon. Kind of tucked in behind the cranberry hibiscus, this turmeric's growing really, really good. I'm excited about that. So keep moving across the front here. Got a couple Seminole Pumpkins going. These guys are off and running. Man, these things, they probably go a good 2 feet a day in length, no joke. And kind of lost in the middle, there's another pepper plant that was transplanted. This is my cherry of the Rio Grande. Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on with this thing. I know it kind of supposed to be a slow grower at the beginning, but it just keeps like dying back, like it's all dried out. But we've been getting lots of rain, the soil's damp, it's not too saturated, it's draining just fine. So I don't know what's going on with this. It is hanging in there. It's got some new growth coming on, so just keep an eye on it. This fig tree I transplanted from the backyard again. I had to prune it way back. It was in the middle of fruiting. I don't expect to get any of this fruit to fully ripen or mature or anything. I'm just hoping that I get a couple of them because I love figs. So this is kind of the line where we cross from the good to the not so good. A long time ago I mentioned to you guys my issue with torpedo grass, and all this was covered with cardboard and mulch, but the torpedo grass has just come in with a vengeance and overtaken. So I've kind of had to take a step back, and it was all, the torpedo grass was all up in here too. So I've spent lots and lots of time just in here manually taking out the torpedo grass, and I kind of just slowly work my way this way. So this is how far I've gotten, and I will get little new shoots that pop up in the areas I've already done, but I'm keeping a close eye on everything and making sure I get to that as soon as I see it and don't let it grow. So here's a new one coming up out of the ground from a spot that I've already done, so I'm gonna have to get that guy ASAP, because the minute you let them linger and you let them grow up a little bit, they're just gonna start to spread, and it spreads so fast. So I got a lot of heartache about this torpedo grass. It's just killing me, but I don't know of any other way to do it, because I've already laid down the cardboard and the mulch, and it's not enough to suffocate it out. The leading edge of that torpedo grass is so sharp that it pokes right through the cardboard. And that makes it tricky, because around the base of the trees is all the roots, so the torpedo grass will get intertwined with the roots. So I have to be really methodical and surgical about how I get the torpedo grass out of the root system of the trees. It's kind of a pain in the neck, so I really need to stay on top of keeping around the trees cleared. This is the Jamaican Cherry. It's sitting up around like 8 feet tall right now. Just a really gorgeous looking tree, and it's very prolific. It's got lots of flowers on it right now. It had mature fruit on it not long ago, but it's kind of fleshed out of that, and it just has lots of immature fruit right now. So it's kind of on its second wind for the season. So I mean, this looks like a lawn. I just had to mow it down with the weed whacker yesterday, so not really happy about it, because this all used to be mulch and looked nice. The Groomy Chama is hanging in there, hasn't really done too much. I think once I get all this torpedo grass out, these things will start fleshing back out, because that stuff just robs all the nutrients from the trees. Black Surinam Cherry is doing good. This is a new addition, a Mulberry Tree. Took a cutting from our tree in the backyard and started this one here. Can't ever have enough mulberries. This Sapodilla is looking really good, really healthy. I'm really liking how this guy's growing, the branching structure and just how healthy it looks. I've seen a couple things right here that look like, you know, the start of flowers. But I know these guys, I think, have to look into it, but from what I understand, the flower, from flower to fruit, takes like a whole year, so I won't really get fruit off of it this year. The fruit may not come until next year. But anyway, that's the Sapodilla. Coming over here, this area is really strange because the torpedo grass hasn't overtaken it as much as, you know, back around the corner where we just were. So I'm trying to keep up on getting the torpedo grass in this area to not come in so fast and vigorously. Ademoya tree. This one's really nice and healthy. It's growing up. It's got kind of a nice airy structure to it, which I like. I did top it off here once it got up to about 7 feet, just cut it off, and it's encouraging some more side branching to come out here. And I've got some more Seminole Pumpkins planted here. This is a Goldfinger Banana and another Goldfinger Banana just transplanted. This is another fig tree that I had to transplant. It didn't like that so much, but it's still alive, it's hanging in there. This sugar apple has to be the jewel of my garden right now. It just looks so full, so nice, very healthy. Even got some immature fruit growing on there. That guy's a monster right there. I think there's about 6 fruit on there right now. So I've coming out checking it frequently, make sure these fruits are ready for picking and I'm ready for them. But I do need to kind of prune this guy and thin it out a little bit and top it off so it doesn't get too big. But man, I can't believe this tree like a year ago was only about waist high and it's already 7 foot right now, looking so full and lush. Just really impressed with this sugar apple tree. Here is a Cherry mango. It's getting kind of beat up. I've seen a lot of the Sri Lankan weevils on it, and these guys are a major pain all over peach trees and everything, so I kind of manually pluck them off and squish them, but I need to do a little better job of thoroughly getting all my trees clear of those things at one time so I can kind of get ahead of them. But it's still putting on lots of new growth, so it's hanging in there. This banana clump is doing really well. I don't exactly know what variety it is. I think it may be the ice cream, but I'll be able to tell once it finally makes fruit and we get to sample it. It's getting a little cluttered here. I only like to keep like 2 or 3 stalks at the max, and these 3 smaller ones are all the same size, so I got to get 2 of those out of there. Got some more torpedo grass in here and some sweet potato. This is a jackfruit, year number 2. It's doing really, really good. It's almost at 6 feet tall right now. I do need to prune it and thin it out. I know it looks really nice and full, but I gotta top it off and gotta clear out some of the inside space here. But the jackfruit's doing good. Not done such a good job on this jackfruit of keeping the torpedo grass out, so I got a long project ahead of me of getting all this stuff out of the root system of the jackfruit. Not ideal, but we'll get it done. Here's one peach tree. It needs to be cleared out around it too. So a lesson learned from what I'd done here to start everything. If I were to do this all over again, I would not buy as many trees at one time and just go plant them all around the yard. I would only plant the trees as my space was ready and I had everything under control as far as the weeds and the mulch and everything goes. I did not anticipate this torpedo grass coming up and being such a burden. But that is, the lesson that you learn. Here's my patch of longevity spinach from one plant, just going crazy. And in there, in the middle somewhere, is a little baby loquat tree that I grafted on a seedling. Okay, I had to hop on the other side of the fence here. So it's another clump of bananas. This one we have a small rack going. I seem to notice a trend that when you first transplant a banana shoot into the ground, that stalk, the rack it makes is usually pretty small, but the next generation of suckers coming up, the rack is going to be a lot bigger with more bananas on it. So we had our chickens in this area temporarily to do some tree work where they are now. So I went ahead and planted a bunch of seeds in here. There's some cantaloupe and melons and stuff on this side, and the fig tree was here, is getting really well fertilized, so it's, you know, shooting off nice and healthy. And then some watermelon on this side. So those are just starting to come up. So here I'm, you know, trying to push the boundary again, really getting in the middle of summer and still planting stuff like watermelon. I know this soil is super fertile from the chickens and all the stuff we used to dump in here, the grass clippings and the food scraps. So I'm hoping that the vigor of these plants are going to overcome, you know, the heat and everything. But I've also positioned them right here, kind of underneath this moringa tree, which will give some nice dappled shade. This moringa tree is just doing amazing. It's another one of my favorite trees in the yard right now. Just the way it looks coming up and splitting off into 3 trunks. It's even got some of the bean pods hanging on there right now. They're kind of everywhere. Got some young ones. And I like how it kind of like litters flowers all over the ground. Looks really nice. What do we got? Eggplant. It's looking good. More peppers. This is another variety of eggplant that was transplanted from the section of the yard I'll show you in a second. So it's starting to flush back out. I had to print it way back. Some more stuff in pots over here that I really need to get planted in the ground. Some of the stuff waiting on getting our permanent fence up, so we can plant some blackberries and other things, you know, that I got in here that are vining to grow along the fence. It's a mess because these Everglades tomatoes are just all over here on everything. This is the plum tree that we planted on Earth Day. Made a video out of it. It's getting hit by those Sri Lankan weevils as well, and it's got torpedo grass all around it. So like I said, lesson learned. It's impossible to keep up on, you know, dozens of trees scattered all throughout the yard without a good system in place. So I want to make sure I always have a place to plant a tree first before I stick it in the ground in the future. So over here, I was talking about transplanting stuff. I had this whole area, you know, a couple of fig trees, the eggplant, other things, some peppers, and I just couldn't keep up with it anymore. So I decided to pull everything out and transplant it and just let this grow back to grass until I can get to it in the future. Here's our chicken area. We put them back here in this spot, and we kind of let this grow wild so they can have, you know, free reign of all these wild weeds and everything. They've been doing really good. I'm gonna show you a couple things in here. We did a video on planting stuff in your chicken area. This is the mulberry tree. It has done really, really well in here. Probably about 8 to 10 feet tall now. gotten several mulberries off of here, but it should just do extremely well next year, since it'll already be in the ground for a whole year and mature. These are the bananas. I've already dug up some of the pups and taken them out of here, so this banana is looking extremely healthy. It's enjoying being here in this chicken area. There is a volunteer volunteer watermelon vine in here, and we got the largest watermelon I've ever grown. Actually, here's half of it. Shoot, can't pull it out, but that's only half of it. The fullness of it, it was probably a good, I don't know, I'd say 20 to 25 pounds. Awesome. Fig tree. This guy hasn't really put any fruit on it yet. It's just all growing leaves, but still doing nice and healthy. Yeah, so it's getting dark. I hope you'll be able to see what I've been filming. And there's the girls going to bed for the night. Yeah, so that's my August update. Thanks for coming along, and again, sorry for being so long until I made a video, but you know, get busy. And anyway, the project's still going on. I'm still making progress, but we'll see you guys next time. From my garden to yours, God bless.